if I can capture, but there's the coolest blue color. You can kind of see it in there. Daylight owl calls, I love it. So do the dogs. I don't know how they do that. That is crazy. Wow. All those birds move like that. If somebody else is watching. Are you kidding me? Look at that. What? How does that even work?
I don't know.
How does that happen?
Told Ed, I saw the sunset, and I told him, I said, God is good, man, look at that. And then we got out, and we saw these birds doing that.
Look at that. What?
And I said, man, look at those birds.
A few months back, I spent a few days camping on private property in the Midwest. Sometime after, I returned to the property and solo camped for a few weeks. The property owner became aware of the possibility of Sasquatch activity and has been intrigued and perhaps a little concerned about what that entails, if it is the case. In this video, I have some audio recordings, I do some exploration in the area, and I filmed some gifting that we did. Here's some audio recordings. These are just a few things I recorded. Later in this video, I will play some audio from one night I recorded for the night. Here are some cool howls that happened almost immediately after I pulled over one night from the last time here. A number of people have commented that they don't all sound like coyotes, which should be the only animal making canine-like calls in this area, besides dogs, of course. That's not the coolest thing ever. Wow. What's that howling? Wow. Are you kidding me? Here are a few other sounds I recorded. close again. Is that a bobcat? Deer?
You heard that?
Listen. What is that? Wow. Wow. Alright, so today I'm putting out chocolate cake, apple pies, 2 apple pies, and a pumpkin pie. So that's that. We'll see, come back tomorrow and see what happened, if anything. Alright, so it is the following day after I left the 4 pies, and I am not seeing them anywhere right here. Not sure what that is. That looks like something from a while ago. But those are here yesterday, so I'll, I don't know. Maybe they've completely disappeared, or maybe I'll find them somewhere like I have in the past when I've done the same. Alright, so here are the treats I'm putting out. The other ones, I couldn't find any of them. I may have found one of the tins, but that was it. So that was interesting. I was hoping to film them if they looked similarly to the last time we put some out, which was they were pretty neatly opened and basically how I found them a lot. So we'll see if they take these or open them and leave the box or whatever. And yeah, that's it. 2 cinnamon cake, a chocolate cake, and an apple pie. Alright, well here we are where I left the treats, and they are gone. Right here I see this pretty neatly opened cinnamon cake box up on its side. Perfectly open too. There's looks like no marks or anything on it. That's pretty cool. I don't see anything else from right here, so I'll have a little look around and see if I can find any other boxes. Right, I found one more cinnamon cake box, pretty neatly opened. Once again, it's just flat. Doesn't look like it's ripped anywhere. It sure is dirty though, from a lot of something. I do also notice right next to this is a feather. I know that the property owner has found feathers in all kinds of places, so that's pretty cool. Well, just a little ways away from that, I found the chocolate cake, and there's a leaf tucked in there, which I've talked about before when I've done gifting insight type stuff. And once again, it's quite neatly opened. So that is pretty cool. Barely even, it's just opened. Wow. Almost looks like the lid was pushed down a little to hold that leaf maybe. I wonder that just from a few times I found leaves very similarly, quite often in the box. Here's an apple pie box upside down with the tin back in it upside down. How funny is that? Look at those punctures in it too. That is so cool. The property owner isn't here, so I'm gonna leave it just the way I found it. And, oh man, the receipt, the expiration sticker. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna leave it just like I found it to show them. Wow. I was struck by how these packages were left exactly the way I typically find them where I have gifted. Is it possible that the clan of Sasquatch from a good distance away came to visit me here? I have heard that is possible. It sure made me wonder. Now I have a look with the property owner, and I found it very insightful listening to his observations. So I am with the owner now. I just wanted to catch his reactions to some of this.
Wow. That's just perfectly open, didn't it? Look at this.
And the leaf in it too is something of significance.
Well, it may be a gift, right? But look at this. This is so just absolutely perfectly. Look at this. I don't even know that I could open this. You know, when you open them, they always tear, right?
Yep.
So something.
That is crazy, right?
So something has. Look how perfect that is. Has just perfectly opened this. Where's the tin? Did they take the tin? No.
This one doesn't have a tin, but I did see that.
I see that.
And that's... Look at this. I actually didn't see this until now.
So what folds it up?
What
folds? So again, look at this. So it's like something that's.
The box.
Oh. So, again, no teeth marks, right? So if it's a rodent, right, they use their mouth to rip open boxes. But I don't see any teeth marks here.
That's a good point.
Right? Or for that matter, any kind of scratching on the box. This is
How freaking cool.
So they've taken the top here. Right? And it looks like they
no
yeah,
way. Look.
Yeah, that's
Did I not tell you this?
Yeah, how they just peel the labels off, right?
No
So
freaking
hold on
way.
to that.
Yep.
But you can see where they have jaggedly, see? And again, if you go to rip cellophane.
Once it's ripped, it's not
yeah.
bad, but to get it started is the hard part.
Right. But that's interesting.
Isn't that cool?
That's crazy interesting, right?
We're not done yet either.
But this.
Isn't that so cool?
This something has.
Yeah. Here we have this.
Oh, this is the lid, right? So. This is the lid to the peanut butter that we screwed on, right? So it was screwed on. So something would have had to have screwed this off. So this is where the lid was, but still no jar, right?
Right.
Interesting.
I don't see one.
Well,
I've already done a little video looking at this stuff before.
yeah.
And then I really wanted to capture you. So here we have that. Just by itself.
Oh, look.
Yes.
So
You saw this.
Hey, are they for whatever? And look, hey, look to your left right there. Look at the feather.
Yes.
See the feather?
That's a fresh one.
So
Right next to that.
I mean, I don't know if you can explain to them or not, but They're really good at gifting feathers once you gift them something.
You have quite a lot of experience with feathers, right?
Yeah. So look at this.
That is so cool.
So this is
Wow.
them saying thank you, right?
Wow.
Or somebody saying thank you or something.
I'm getting
saying thank you.
goosebumps.
But again,
Here we go again with the...
But again, oddly enough, I mean, it's windy, right?
Isn't that odd, though?
But all three of them had a leaf in it.
Yeah.
But look how, but again, not torn at all,
That's impressive.
but opened
Carefully.
carefully. I mean, there's a little tear right there, but again, if it was a trash bandit, a la a raccoon,
Mm-hmm.
right? You would see teeth marks or scratch marks or something, and it almost looks like a palm print right here.
I'd noticed a lot of...
Do you see that?
Yeah, just that whole...
It's like a palm print, maybe.
Wow.
I don't know why they would palm it, but maybe
kinda
once
cool.
they opened it, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But again, this is not crushed like the other one, but you can see that if you hold it in your hand. I think that's just wow. But this has got me,
Isn't that something?
yeah. But again, no claw marks, right?
Right.
So look, if I use my nail,
Mm-hmm.
right, you can see, like if I'm trying to scratch into it, you can see how I leave a, and then, I don't know, I can't, because the other one had puncture marks in it,
Yeah. It's not too weak.
but yeah, no, interesting.
The other one. Two leaves on top. That could have fallen, I guess.
Yeah, there's the other one there
Yes,
too.
yeah.
I see it.
That one's going to be a treat.
Again, there's a leaf in it,
I
right?
have to tell you, they are not always this neat with me. This is pretty... And the leaf stuck in there,
So,
right?
yeah, the leaf was stuck in there. So look, this isn't even all the way open.
Which is pretty
And
wild.
yeah, but so this isn't all the way open. So
That doesn't come with a tin, that one. That's
this
just,
one doesn't.
Nope. That's just a piece of cake.
Yet there's nothing left inside of it, right? Completely clean.
Strangely, there's a piece of chocolate still
It's still on the top. Yeah, I see
Surprising,
that. Yeah.
Some little guy didn't come and chew that up.
Or another animal for that matter.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting. But so since they didn't need to take the tin out, they just opened it up enough.
Yeah.
But again, it's opened. Right? It's not ripped, it's not tore through. And I'd be interested to do a controlled experiment with some coons just to throw it in
See what happens.
to see how they open it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And to see if they would be delicate, in which, I mean, I've been around trash bandits out here my whole life, and they're not gentle when they go in to get what they want, right?
Right.
I don't want to open that any further, but I'm curious. So, obviously, but just to take your time,
There's some
You-
delicacy in
yeah.
to just open it
just
part way.
without ripping it, right? I was very cautious about that.
I love these observations.
Interesting. Well, wind could have moved it, right?
It was on
Oh,
top
look
of...
here. Did you notice this?
That was what it was on top of, yeah. I wanted to leave it the way I found it. But wait till you look at that.
So it's upside down.
The tin is back in the box,
Yeah.
upside down.
And the tin is literally back in the box. And the box isn't open either. I mean,
Upside down
it's
in
upside,
the box.
but it's,
I'm laughing because I've experienced similar... But I was
so
experiencing...
here's the holes.
Yeah.
Here's the holes again.
Yeah.
Again, no scratch marks.
That's a wow. That's a good point.
Again, you see, and I don't have very many nails, but you see if you're going to scratch it, I mean, very easily you could tell if something was scratching it, right? But I don't understand so the other holes were larger perforations. They were it was almost like something took and like popped it out. But curious why this is folded and then
upside down,
back in, upside down. So let's just go. I told you, being a deductive reasoning guy. So if it's like this, how would, oh boy. Okay, I'm going to try to do it without an opposable thumb. I guess why would, but again, even that I turned it over, right? Look, it was hanging out here, but it wasn't hanging out here. It was completely in here upside down. Interesting. Good stuff. Again.
I love the expiration stickers.
Good stuff.
So here were moved, and he just moved these into a circle. These rocks were moved and crossed those feathers. It's a little ritual that he's been doing.
Well, they started this. They started this circle.
Okay.
And it will randomly be messed up, and like this feather now is half.
Oh wow.
So, and I have pictures. So, and I put them in here again with the X form. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know it's odd.
All right, so I'm now going out and just having a look at the area a little bit to just see what I see. I've actually gone out with the landowner and seen a few things. There's this beautiful river pretty close by, and the first thing I'm noticing is that sort of arched tree bent over the river. I have seen another just like that on this river too that's not too far, so I'll probably get that. And then just noticing that one that's leaning right there. Beautiful day. Beautiful water here too. The landowner says that it's great energy. I have to agree. This water. Interesting couple tree breaks up here. There's that one, the top of it, up there. It's kind of cool how that broke. Went down and some of the bark's peeled off. And then there's another break right up there, a big limb. These by themselves are hard to say exactly what caused them, but tree breaks is something I look for when I'm just checking stuff out and seeing what I find. Kind of interesting here, all these sticks that are leaned up against this broken tree. Quite a few. Something I have seen before. Really old limb. It's actually hanging. It's off the ground. That's kind of cool. You can see the bottom of it's not touching. Same limb. Then there's that little one just hanging there too. Big, can't help but notice the archy branch there that is like hooked into this dead tree. Kind of interesting. Down tree. Interestingly, it has like this old limb laid over it right there. Bunch of, looks like nut pieces or something on there. The bottom of it, kind of a funky break. And beautiful water. Right next to that one is another down tree. That's kind of wild. Looks like it's maybe it was just growing on that little mini peninsula thing there. I see how it's in between those, which doesn't necessarily definitively mean something, but taking note. And that limb is broken, or that tree. And this one looks like an arch. That's cool. Right next to this older, the first tree that I looked at is this. A possible arch. Tree that's broken a little ways up. It's kind of funky how this one's sort of tangled up with it. From the other side, the top of this tree kind of looks almost like it's a little bit bent. And then the Y goes over that tree. And then it looks like there's a limb way up center screen right there. Just zoom in on that. That's pretty cool. What's that doing there? I think it doesn't have bark. It kind of doesn't look the same, I don't think, from what I'm seeing, as the bark on the tree. It's like it came from another tree. The only other tree that's higher and near it is that one. It looks like we have possibly a pair of trees that are parallel to each other. And just noticing right next to the end of this, there's this limb that's just leaning without any bark. It looks really old. Looks like possibly another one leaning against that one. And one right there. The other side of this, I'm thinking maybe it's one tree that's just like twins or whatever. Yeah, I think that's one. Okay, so it's not two trees next to each other. One big tree. And there's another broken tree right next to it going that way. So there's the other one. And there's the original huge, look like two. Some stuff kind of leaning on it there. But right here, it's almost like a little structure. This X and this limb that's going, leaning up. And you can see it's not from, it didn't grow there. You can see the bottom of it. Right there. Old. Or maybe it grew a long time ago. Let me just check now that I brought attention to that. Yeah, that might have grown there a long time ago. But it goes through that with a little vine thing, and then that sort of X right there. And here's all the limbs that are leaned up against this massive thing. They're both broken here. Wow. Would have loved to have heard that. There's like an arch kind of right next to those broken trees. One's right there to the right and the other one's right through there. And once again, there's a couple limbs through the Y. There's one limb that's broken off, and then the other one is like propped up over here. And then there's also that piece of bark kind of leaning. That's pretty cool altogether. If you look at all the components, it looks kind of possibly intentional. You can see a broken tree right in the distance there too. And you can see behind the tree there's a hill, so we're down like in a valley. So it's unlikely a lot of wind gets down here. So that arch down here is this. Really old, but pretty cool. Looking tree, kind of got a almost archish shape to it. There will be another one that is similar to that, which reminds me also how that arch, there's another arch that's similar to that one I saw over the water. Noticing little patterns. Closer look at that. So look at the break I was looking at from a distance. And strangely, the bottom half has all the bark, and then this part has all the bark removed. A little twig placed through there too. One more small branches broken. A bunch on this tree. There's two more there. That one's actually broken up there. Here, there is 1, 2, 3, 4 limbs all leaned up. Limb leaning up against that tiny little tree there. Also with like some of that vine wrapped around that same spot. And then right behind it, it's kind of cool looking, sort of archy looking tree there with the branches and all. Let's see. And then there's this one limb leaning in there. Those branches look like they could possibly be bent down. The top of it's kind of bent a little too. A limb just hanging out here. Did it fall and land like that, or was it put there? Definitely could have come from that, so. Nice shot though. The top of it went right through the Y of that tree right there. That's a pattern I see a lot of. Pretty funky looking, a bit archy, sort of like an X right there, and then the top's bent. A lot going on. There's a limb that's pretty cool how that's hung up there. It's parallel to the ground. This one right here. Just kind of gently. Surprising that that's held up like that. Right next to it is a stick with the bark peeled leaning against that tree. Two more trees with the bark peeled, forming an X on the ground, laying over a log. Right behind this X looks like a little archy branch from a long time ago. And it's still got like a little limb leaning over it, like holding it down. And then on the same tree, there's another one that's kind of bent down too. It's touching the ground. Okay. Some nice background sounds. I'm looking at that uprooted tree at an angle. Just taking note. Does one of these things mean something? Maybe, maybe not. All of it together might make it a little more interesting. Here's another broken tree. Couple little sticks just kind of tucked in here. Well, that's pretty cool. So you've got that tree leaning, and it connects with this limb that's once again parallel to the ground, hanging out up there. Right through the Y. Then right behind it, I'm noticing two trees that are kind of crossed like an X, and also a bunch of limbs all together there. There's quite a few. Or two are growing, but then there's one, two, or just one, two, and then three. That's the same. It's cool though. There's the end of it, just it's like it was jammed in there. That's the X. Next to this, there's a tree that's leaning like a pointer or something. And then if you can see it in the distance there, that's the other one that kind of reminded me of the shape that I talked about before. Sort of archy break. There's a closer look at that. It's kind of funky. Leaning over this fallen tree. And there in the background is kind of a funky looking there, center screen. I head over to that, I'm just seeing this right here. Once again, a few different sticks, almost like a structure. There, and then that caught my eye from back there. Just odd looking. I guess I didn't even notice that there's this one leaning. There's another one parallel to it, pretty much. And then there's those. And then there's those two at that angle. And then they have a couple limbs across the bottoms of them there. And then right here is another one of the this one's almost parallel to the ground. It's funny. And it looks like the limb that's under it looks kind of tweaked there. What is even holding that up? Right there. What is holding that up? Huh. That's pretty wild. That branch, it's funky. And this is next to some possible structures that are really cool. And as I look that way, I'm seeing a picture perfect arch. And wow, look at how this one is wrapped underneath. It goes down and back up. I feel like I've seen that recently somewhere, but how cool is that? And this too is kind of arched under the same tree. Huh. And then right there, there's two limbs crossed without bark, connecting to two trees. That watches my videos knows right now, this made my day. I just love a beautiful arch. And here's another one that's barely hooked in right underneath that, right next to that. You can, look at that, how they're kind of the same angle from right here. That is so cool. So look at that. Beautiful. Look at the little one next to this one. Oh man, that is And on the other end of this stick, the tree that they're hooked under is kind of funky, considering it's right next to those. Got that branch. It just kind of looks possibly arranged, some of this, like that right there. And connected to all that, I just got nailed by prickers. Hold on, there we go. There's a sort of bent looking tree. Considering it's connected to all those, I'm gonna go with it was bent. And that brings us to these like huts that are so cool. I think this is one of them. It's like these little shelters almost. Here's the arch. Is this one of them? Kind of. I don't know if you can see that. Not much of an opening, but there's some others that are really more distinct. I sat and looked at them with the property owner, and we decided it just had to be done with hands. Here's a branch that's kind of, but over here, there's one here. If you can see that, I know there's a lot going on. Let me try to get a better. You can see that's like, it looks like it was, you know, built. All those little twigs and stuff that are bent. That's the one I was just looking at. It's not as clear, but this one will be unmistakable right here. Look at that. That is about where my belly button is, the top of it right there. I could easily crouch down and get in this. Look at this thing. Why isn't it focused? Things in the way. Look at that. How cool is that? Possibly I'll come back with the landowner and get their thoughts on this, because if you really look at it, it's just really fascinating. And it's kind of connected to this tree that's broken halfway up. I personally find that odd, that a tree would break like that in such a strong point down in a valley. There probably isn't much wind. And over here, there's sort of another one of these. It's not as clear as that one that we were just looking at. Here's this one that the really defined one from this side. Look at that. That is something. Look at how those are all broken. Wow. Here's the broken tree, and I'm just kind of looking. That's broken too. To have a closer look at this break. It's kind of a funky break, I think. And I'm also looking for if there's possibly a nice arch in there, which I find so often. There's one tree that's kind of bent a little. It's not like a beautiful, perfect arch, but it's kind of interesting. I guess that could happen that way from the tree falling. Because I've seen some that just, I feel like they were built into it. We have an X with 2 upside down limbs. And then on the ground next to it is a whole bunch of sticks. I see in this little limb that's just tucked in there. Interesting. Another pile of sticks. I don't know what it could mean, if it means anything. Just taking notes. Kind of funky looking spot here. Kind of looks like a lot going on. So I just figured I'll have a look. Bottom of those trees that are down. I don't know if those grew down below. I don't really see a clear spot where they're from. I think that's a squirrel or something over there. But that's kind of cool how that root ball is just hanging out there. It's kind of weird. Pretty old. No bark. See if we can catch the culprit. Those little guys can make a lot of noise. I was listening to, I think it was a possum walk by. I was like, what is that? Oh, can't see him. Down tree. Not much really jumps out about it, except I did notice this kind of looks funky here, the way this is. It's like twisted there. Hard to say, but in the background is some pretty cool stuff. Got this this one leaning, and then right through there that you can see barely are some pretty cool things. Right, so well, before I get to those two, there's another limb just hanging. I might have just looked at this actually, but there's the third time that there's that sort of shape from a broken tree. And look at what's right next to it. Look at that log that's just hanging out up there. Have a closer look at that. Look at this. That kind of looks twisted. And look at that. And something I noticed, because I have seen this before, is there's the limb there and the limb there. It's through both Ys. How cool is that? Just hanging out up there. That's probably one of the most odd things we've seen so far, I think. We'll go this way so you can see how it's also through that Y. That nasty looking tree with the huge spikes. I don't know what that is. Scary. And then over here, looks like almost like a teepee kind of thing where there's a few trees that are all sort of connected up top. Now I'm back down by this incredible river. And boy, do I always want to walk along rivers and look for prints. I mean, there's so many impressions. My gosh, there's a ton right here. I'm sure people come here too, I don't know, but these feel funky. Just under the leaves. Can't really see, but I feel like I'm stepping on some big indentations. It's really soft here. It might be worth a peek. Right here where I move the leaves, there's definitely a deer. And then there's this huge kind of, I don't know. I mean, there's no, it's just kind of right there. It's massive. It's like as big as my hand, that right there. You can see that. Another massive indent in the dirt. It's not very defined in any way, but I just stepped in that like I could just feel it under my foot. There's that, and then there's this right there, so that's pretty cool. These big indents in the ground. Here is like a little footprint. It looks kind of defined. Big toe, left foot, the heel right there. It's not huge. It almost looks like the little toes right there. Look at that. That's pretty, big toe is right there. If that's what it is. That's really clear. See the big toe, 1, 2, and I'm assuming 2 more there. If that's what it is. It sure looks like it. So cool. Right there. Gosh, look how clear the impressions are here. Man. I don't know what they all are. Figure I'll film. Nothing's really jumping out. There's deer. There's a, I don't know, what is that? Huh, that's kind of cool. Is that like a foot? Like the heel kind of dug up the dirt a little there? It could also be a combo of a couple, I guess, different things. And of course I'm looking in the water. Like if I look, it almost looks like a lot of impressions right in the water. Kind of big ones too. I don't know if you can see that. Like that right there really looks like, whoops, like a foot. Just looking at a little more here. That's questionable. So many impressions. Some are big. That almost looks like a really big foot right there, almost. Nothing's leaving no doubt, but I think that first one I was looking at was pretty cool. Just so many impressions. I don't know. I feel like some of these are too big to be deer. But they're almost like big paws too, some of them like those. I don't know. Another thing I have considered is if Sasquatch ever walk when they're on 4 legs, would it be more like fists and just the balls of their foot? I've wondered about that, like when you see a big impression like that, could it just be like a fist or the top of the foot? Well, that's fun. I could do this all day. It's so fun trying to find something. Trying to find a print. I could just look for prints all day. I am gonna see if I can get out on this like peninsula thing and get near some of that running water and take that in for a minute and do a little bit of grounding. Visual. I'm looking right on the edge of the water here. And there's right there. Right there. It could almost be a foot. Right next to mine. Hard to say, but just kind of press down right there. You feel it. Can't really feel any definitive impression. Maybe. Let's see. Too much grass. It is kind of down, but it's hard to say. There's rocks and stuff. Well, can we make it? Hopefully these aren't too slippery. I don't really want to get soaked. Oh, let's see. I think I'm gonna have to get wet feet if I do this. I don't really want to get wet, so we'll enjoy it for a second. I'm grounding now. Would I love to just follow that for a ways? Maybe I will. So cool. I drive over rivers like this and I'm always like, man, I want to go see that close up and just walk along it and see what I find. That is what we're doing now. Very impression-y. I do know on a beachy section I saw tons of deer. I mean, we saw some deer prints where I was. A lot of impressions right here though, that's for sure. Ooh, can feel it. That's a big one. Big impression. Wow. Very similar to the other possible one is this. Hard to say, but the shape would be right there. It's pretty big if that is a foot. I don't know which direction it would be going for sure. Could be either way if it is one. Pretty cool. And that looks too big to be deer, I think. I don't know what would happen. I don't leave a print like that, so the grass just, I don't know, so it could be constant traffic. Hard to say. Lots of impressions. I can feel them once again underneath. I think this is a perfect way for me to end my exploration hike today. That's the other arch that I was talking about. It's not actually over the river. Maybe when the river's higher, but that is cool. Come check it out from this side. And by the way, tons of foot traffic. It could be people too. Other people like me just hiking down here. I mean, it's beautiful. Can't help it. Yeah, look at that. Nice. So, I know I'm gonna have more in this video than just the hike, so maybe I'll play some recordings now or something. But anyways, as far as the hike, thanks for coming along, and that's gonna do it. I was gonna end it, but I could not resist. I saw this on the way back. Perfect. Let's see what it has. It's underneath that. And it has that little stick leaning on it. And it's also under that log. It's under two. That is so cool. You can see over If you follow it down there, you can tell it's also under that. So it's under two different logs that are crossed like a T. And it kind of makes me wonder about that archy looking tree over there. Beauty. The tree has like part of the bark sort of worn. And it goes up probably 10 feet up or so. You can see these little, even on this to the left, it's like an older one. You can see these little notches in it. And in that one too, on the left there. Like scratches, or I don't know what could have done that. Goes up to about there. Quite a couple feet above me. Then also right next to this, there's a limb leaned in between the Y on that tree and a big broken tree. Number of X's that are pretty close to the property in different areas on the ground and stuff. Here's a couple more on the property. One. There's quite a bit of things like this that you could say maybe nothing, but it's kind of interesting. This bone was found by the property owner, or these bones. And I'm not quite sure what to make of those marks in this one. It's almost artistic. Could it be a gift? They sort of remind me a little of the tree. And there was also a jar of peanut butter that was, half of it was gone, and there was sort of similar to that on the top of the peanut butter. Not sure. I do notice it's kind of uniform over on the side here, the way the edge is like. It's definitely interesting. Love these daylight owl hoots. loving these colors.